Jim Miller taking on Fabrício Camões. So UFC 168. Jim Miller, let's be honest guys, this is an easy fight for Jim Miller. Jim Miller was on a 7-fight win streak tear from 2009 to 2011, while Fabrício Camões lost his first 2 fights in the UFC and he was released. And during his release, you know, this guy fought Steve Lopez and Efrain Escudero, who were, I don't want to call them UFC rejects, but they were guys that were in UFC that were also released. And he beat them both, which prompted his return to the octagon. And that happens a lot, guys. You know, that's what happens. When you leave UFC, if you win your fights, you're invited back, especially if you beat UFC contenders. So, on his 3rd attempt, this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt finally recorded a win against Tommy Hayden back in January of 2012. But again, you know, he found himself on the losing streak, lost to Melvin Guillard, and you know, this is his first fight in almost 18 months, so he's fighting a top 10 lightweight. And Jim Miller, he's awesome, man. Like I said, you know, he had that 7-fight win streak from 2009 to 2011, and he was a possible contender for a title shot. And you know, in the last few years, you know, he only lost to Ben Henderson and Nate Diaz, and then he lost that fight to Pat Healy, but he might have lucked out because it was overturned because of Healy's failed drug test. You know, Healy smokes weed. Doesn't look like your typical pot smoker, but he is. And, you know, don't take it lightly. He failed the weed test for a UFC fight. That means he's a pothead. Alright, anyway, guys. It doesn't erase the fact that, you know, he was choked unconscious in the 3rd round. So, you know, the fans know that, but he might have kind of lucked out with that. And they're giving him an easy fight because Jim Miller deserves it. You know, he's been in UFC for a long time. That 7-fight win streak was awesome. You know, he fought some of the best, and he's 22-4. And although he has 3 knockouts to his credit, he's got a bunch of submissions, and you know, he really beats up everybody. So, you know, Fabrício just lost to Melvin Guillard. Jim Miller, you know, he choked Melvin out in the 1st round. So, you know, quite a disparity here. If anyone tries to tell you this fight is a close fight, don't believe them. Jim Miller all the way on this one. He matched it up for himself. He's going to get this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and it's not going to be too hard for Jim Miller. You know, he could always lose the fight, guys, but this is one I feel very strong about. Jim Miller all the way. I'm sure the betting people have him as a huge favorite. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you, the mixed martial arts fans, for being there for me. Alright? Because you're there for me, and I know it, and I appreciate it, and I love you for it. I really do. I don't say things, you know, that I don't mean. And I want to say thanks to people like Penny, Nicole, Sally, Bradley, Juan, Scott. There's a couple Scotts on there. And Bobby, as always. Bobby, you've been there since the beginning. Really appreciate that, man. And I'm going to be at UFC 168, so if anyone's going, you know, let me know in the comments. I'll be at like the MGM or who knows, Excalibur, Luxor, in those lobbies. Thank you so much. If I didn't hit you up with a shout out, it's kind of hard, man. At the end of all the talking, let me know in the comments down below and I'll hit you back up. Alright, so thanks Nicole, Sally, Bradley, Juan, Scotts. Peace out, bro.